All right, we're going to read from Disney's storybook collection. This time we're going to read about Pinocchio. Once upon a time, Geppetto the woodcarver made a special puppet that he named Pinocchio. "I wish you were a real boy," said Geppetto sadly. That night the Blue Fairy came to Geppetto's workshop. "Good Geppetto," she said, "you have made others so happy. You deserve to have your wish come true." Smiling, the Blue Fairy touched the puppet gently with her wand. "Little puppet made of pine, wake! The gift of life be thine." And in the blink of an eye, she brought Pinocchio to life. "Pinocchio, if you are brave, truthful, and unselfish, you will be a real boy someday," said the Blue Fairy. Then she turned to Jiminy Cricket. "Jiminy," she said, "you must help Pinocchio." She told Jiminy that she was giving him a very important job. He must be Pinocchio's conscience, keeper of the knowledge of right and wrong. The next day Geppetto proudly sent his little wooden boy off to school. "Jiminy Cricket will show you the way," said Geppetto. "Be sure to go right there." Pinocchio headed off, but never found his way to school. He went away with Stromboli, an evil puppeteer, who promised to make him famous. That night Pinocchio had great fun as he danced on the stage, but afterward Stromboli locked him in a cage so he could never escape. The Blue Fairy appeared and asked Pinocchio why he hadn't gone to school. Pinocchio lied and told her he had been kidnapped. Suddenly, his nose began to grow. When Pinocchio finally told the truth, the fairy set him free. "I'll forgive you this once, Pinocchio, but this is the last time I can help you. Remember, a boy who won't be good might just as well be made of wood." The next day, Pinocchio met a man who drove a stagecoach pulled by a team of sad little donkeys. "Come with us to Pleasure Island," said the coachman. The stagecoach was full of noisy boys. They were laughing and talking all at once. Pinocchio thought it looked like fun. "Don't go, Pinocchio!" cried Jiminy Cricket, but still Pinocchio climbed aboard, ready for adventure. Sounds like a bad idea. On Pleasure Island, Pinocchio and the other boys ran wild and stuffed themselves with sweets. But Pinocchio's fun did not last long. All of a sudden he began to grow donkey ears and a tail. Pinocchio was frightened. He and Jiminy Cricket ran for their lives away from Pleasure Island. But when the two returned home, Geppetto was gone. Pinocchio was very upset. Where could Geppetto be? A dove suddenly appeared with a note from Geppetto. The note said he had gone to the sea to look for Pinocchio and had been swallowed by a whale. My goodness. Pinocchio set off at once to find Monstro the whale and save his father. And indeed, Pinocchio found Geppetto in the belly of the great whale. Geppetto was thrilled to see his little puppet. But how were they ever going to get out? How were they ever going to get out of there? Pinocchio had an idea. Together they built a fire and used the smoke to make Monstro sneeze. That was very smart thinking, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Geppetto and Pinocchio were thrown out of the whale and into the sea. Fighting the waves, Pinocchio helped get his father to shore safe and sound. But there was Pinocchio lying face down in the water. Geppetto scooped Pinocchio up in his arms and carried him home. Geppetto laid Pinocchio on his bed and knelt by his side. "Little Pinocchio, you risked your life to save me," he sobbed. Suddenly the Blue Fairy appeared once more. Waving her magic wand over Pinocchio, she said, "Now you have proven yourself brave, truthful, and unselfish. Today you will become a real boy. Awake, Pinocchio, awake!" Jiminy Cricket watched as his friend came to life. Their troubles were over and Jiminy's job was done. At last, Geppetto's wish for a real son had come true. The end.
Wow. there is more to it, right?
Well, yes, it's a very long movie.